basically just talking about how the Aztecs basically depicted the changing of the sun, and so like essentially, you know, like everyone loves to evacuate belief into the ancient Egyptians. Everyone loves to like for example, Tesla. Tesla's a very good example. Everyone loves to talk about how Nikola Tesla was the greatest person ever, or modern day science will love to talk about Einstein. It's like we only ever give someone really credit like once they're after they're dead or when they're gone. It's an evacuation of belief of how like everything before was so good, and we have to stay by that. And so like we love to give the ancient Egyptians loads and loads and loads of credit and all of this stuff. And I'm not saying that they're shit or anything by any means, but what I'm saying is that like the ancient Egyptians, what stands out about them is the pyramids, but people then forget that the Aztecs had pyramids, many pyramids, and it was a lot more recent than the ancient Egyptians. A lot more recent. The Aztecs date back to the 16th century, and basically what they depicted, their cosmological beliefs and their depiction was that the sun essentially evolved. And obviously, like, I don't know whether you believe the Earth is concave, flat, spherical, whatever you believe.
I don't really believe in believing. Like, I don't know. All I've seen is the fucking field in front of me. I haven't fucking been to space, you know what I mean?
That's the thing, bro, is that, like, I don't know. Like I said, have you ever looked into the Earth being flat?
Well, it's one of them. It's like, well, I know that there's bear man who I rate who preach that the Earth is flat, right? And when it comes to like what I quote unquote believe in, like I say, it's like I will remain. Although the vast majority of literally even the spiritually awake people, you know, everyone's like that's fucking stupid, right? But I ain't gonna. I don't know. I haven't become directly conscious of anything, and neither has most people. So at the end of the day, I understand that the vast majority of our knowledge, or what we know, is hearsay. I don't know if the Earth is flat or not. I'm open to... I don't know if there even is anything underneath me, or it's just like, you know what I mean? Because as far as I'm aware, there's just my eyes and what's right in front of me.
That's called Zetetism. About what you go off what you can actually prove in your daily experience.
Yeah. What did you say it was called?
Zetetism, or being a zetetic.
Zetetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair play. Well, that's it, isn't it? Well, I feel like if you don't do that, then you're a bit stupid.
Yeah. And to be fair, I used to like when I like came to the conclusion that the Earth is flat. See now, like I was very identified with that. Like I'd say 6 months ago. Whilst now I'm more of like I do think the Earth is flat, but I don't care if it's flat or concave, because there's people who believe that it's concave, there's people that believe that it's square. Like I don't actually care about the actual shape. What I care about is the fact that the Earth is stationary and non-rotating, and that we live in a confined environment.
Is this kind of the idea of it's like a I don't know what the definition of a firmament is, but it's basically like a dome.
Yeah, firmament. Yes, exactly that.
So why is this like relevant? Like, you know, so if you don't care if it's round or anything, why do you care if it's not moving?
Because the whole idea that we are rotating is essentially what puts everything into the scientific consensus of this world is meaningless. The whole idea that we are going around something rather than everything is going around us. Do you understand how important that actually is, and what that is basically literally telling us? It's trying to modern day science is trying to tell us we go around the sun, so the sun is the most important thing, and this world is basically meaningless.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's the way that science proposes it. Is like, yeah, it's just you're a fucking rock on a speck, and then so. But then your proposal is basically you're in the center, and as far as we're aware, we're the life at the center of everything. And I mean, who's to tell you that isn't the case? If you're at the center of the experience, especially when I'm on psychedelics, yeah, I look up and I'm like, I feel like my whole experience is like I'm in the middle of like some orb. I don't know, it's weird.
I hear that, bro. Because I mean, going off of because obviously all the ancient civilizations had a depiction, and it basically like is an orb. Like even the Quran even says that the earth is an egg, and obviously like you can think of that like a weird shaped sphere, or you can think of that as a contained environment where the life is on the inside.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting to talk to you in terms of, like, because it actually definitely sounds like you know what the fuck, because most man who I've spoke to, yeah, because me, I have, like, a fucking library of information within my mind. I've never found somebody who also really has that, because it sounds like, you know, you've actually thought, like me, yeah, I got completely absorbed with Awakening at about the age of, like, 16 to 17, and now it's literally...
How old are you now, bro, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 19.
I swear, I'm 20, bro.
Yeah, but when did, like, I assume, would you say that you're, like, completely absorbed in this shit also, like...
Like, bro, literally, my awakening it's happened so quickly, in the sense of, like, the amount of knowledge that I just flooded my aperture and how I actually see the world, like, compared to most people, I genuinely believe it's extraordinary, because I'm 21 in February, and I literally woke up, like, I had learned about manifestation and all of that stuff before, but I only spiritually woke up in March 2021, so literally just after I turned 19, so, like, literally, just over a year and a half now, I've been spiritually awakened.
Right, I'll tell you, this, if you don't mind, and I don't know if you want to fuck off soon or not, I am recording. I'm not saying it's gonna go anywhere. I'll just delete it. But I mean, are you happy? Like I only just hit record when you hit flat Earth, just in case. But I mean, the idea is, of course, if you was happy with it, then I could potentially release it. And do you mind if I ask basically what is the process of your awakening? If it happened so quickly and shit, then. You know, what the fuck happened to you, and when did it go down, and or what, you know?
So, like, I went through, like, it's I don't want to, because I'll get into the astrology of it, because I used to think that, like, all of this shit happening to me was what's the word, coincidental, but essentially your life is like, you have free will, but you only have as much free will as you don't have free will. Does that make sense? So it's like everyone's trauma and everything that they're gonna go through in life is basically it's not scripted, but it is scripted at the same time. It's a process of as above, so below, which is really why flat Earth matters, because it's really telling you what the stars and the planets actually are. They're basically reflecting what's going above from below. And so, like, I went through a lot. So me myself, I'm an Aquarius, using the Western system. In the Indian system, I am a Capricorn, but Aquarius is the opposite of your sign, which is Leo. So we are opposite to each other. We're basically the two sides of duality. And so, like, I'm someone who I'm very good at keeping things to myself, in the sense of stuff that's actually personal to me. And so, like, I was going through a lot of stuff that, like, was very unique to me, you know, and that includes high spectrum stuff that was, you know, very, very, like, personal stuff to myself and my family, and then also stuff to do with, like, friends and stuff, people stabbing me in the back, and then, like, actual, like, situations, like, life-threatening, just the combination of it all, basically, and me being the way that I was, and keeping everything so enclosed inside me, and, like, really not learning it in any way to healthily express my emotion. It made me always be inside myself. I had such an awareness of self-awareness before I even actually knew what I was doing. And that's the ultimate thing of healing, is like, you need to be self-aware. You need to be able to observe your actions, understand when you're reacting from trauma. And it's like from from literally about, I'd say, the age of 13, because I grew up in London, in East London. When then I was 13, I moved to High Wycombe, and so like straight away I was seeing two very contrasting sides of the life. Like I was going from a place called Newham, which is literally the ghetto. Like it is a fucking shithole there. Very shit, very high gang crime, all of that stuff. I was never involved in gangs there or anything illegal. I was always like a naughty kid, but you get me. I never went down that path. I never got groomed or anything like that. But I lived in a literal shithole. I'm walking to school. There's fridges on the floor, mattresses everywhere. There's trolleys in the street everywhere. I'm playing with it on the way to school, all of this shit. And then I move out to High Wycombe, which is, there's some not nice bits of High Wycombe, but it's Buckinghamshire. Buckinghamshire is only ever going to be so bad, do you know what I mean? And so, like, straight away, from a young age, I just learned that, like, there's more to life than what your reality is at that given moment. And then obviously then going through stuff and being, like, forcing myself to go inwards to manipulate my own behavior to fit in and to do all of these things. Like it drove me crazy because I was accessing this technology because that's literally what we are. We are technology. We are a soul experiencing different forms of technology within ourselves, and I was experimenting with all this technology and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And so like eventually I was doing stuff which like, for future's sake, I won't say. Actually, no, it's fine because I got like convicted of it. I've done my sentence, all of that shit. I was selling weed for quite a long time, and some circumstances happened to which I couldn't do it anymore because I was on tag, and if I carried on doing it, I basically would have got kicked out of my house, and I dislocated my shoulder. I ripped off my car. I just got in a fuck situation, and then after that, like I just had loads of time to reflect because I'm not 24/7 just going out and doing X, Y, and Z. And so then I obviously knew about this was in January 2021. So obviously I knew that COVID was fucking bullshit, all of that shit. But like my mind was in a state where I'm constantly repeating the same actions, staying in a metaphysical, just negative state in the ether. Like anyone who's selling drugs, you're constantly trapped and you're sending out negative energy into the ether. And so, like, once I got out of that, it really gave me time to start exploring stuff. And then someone just literally, it was as simple as someone sent me some, like, spiritual type of videos, some guy called Spiritual. So I started watching that type of stuff. I resonated. And then he basically said about meditation. And so then I was like, fuck it, I'm going to meditate. And as soon as I started meditating, that's when I was literally...
It's mad. That's mad. Right. So I was following, for the most part, everything you said. And I couldn't help. But so it's not like, of course, I advocate literally everything that's ever going to come out of your mouth. But when you were saying about like you're basically a soul who gets thrown into like a matrix, like your body's a machine. No one really tells you how to fucking use it. There's society is like a large abusive family, like where no one's actually gone within and dealt with their own traumas, and this manifests in like a corrupt way of loving other people. And in terms of the environments of like London, where there's trolleys and poverty and loads of shit everywhere, that is some of the worst shit ever. Like I know what you mean. It's I hate that. So I got a video on my channel talking about the West, and I've just got a picture of like a fat block of flats, and it's I know that kind. I don't know what to call it exactly, but it's just like the really bottom ends of our society. Is fucking horrible. So yeah, that's a mad story. I know what you mean. It's like, yeah, I know. I was actually the same. I was gonna say where you basically don't know, and no one really teaches you properly how to authentically express yourself, your emotions, and deal with your inner spiritual world. And
it's like for me as well is like I think one thing that sort of like really like that I don't hold resentment, because I'm grateful for all of these fucking bad things that happen in my life, yeah. But like one thing that does, like, I'm not gonna say get on my nerves, but like until you've had that experience sort of happen to you and you see how that manifests later in your life, it's like people don't actually understand what they're gonna be doing to children when you like promote the whole idea of like feminism or modern day feminism. Because I'm all for the equality stuff, but like one thing about me is that my mum was the one who worked and was always busy and basically played the father role, and my dad was the stay at home, and my dad was dealing with loads of shit because, long story short, his sister, my auntie, is a fucking crackhead, and my little cousin has to live with us because of that. And so, like, when feminism says, okay, women should be in the workforce and do all of this, do that, don't get me wrong, there's so many jobs that women are better at, but you need to understand that, like, when that happens and you've got kids, like mothers, the energy surrounding the feminine is so fucking nurturing.
Yeah.
Just simply being around your child as a woman is gonna be doing wonders for that child, because like literally, one thing about myself is I was sort of deprived of motherly love from a very young age. You know, like, yeah, my parents were together. I know a lot of people, their parents split, and that really fucks them up. But like, it's never talked about how it fucks you up when, like, your mum just is never there. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously I love my dad. My dad done the best that he could, but like, a man can only ever be a mum so good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. It's like it's not like, well, for the most part, I do advocate that there are pretty solid gender roles. I'm not being Andrew Tate, but it's like, yeah, the mother is a nurturing, and I feel like if you don't recognise that, then you're blind. I know what you mean.
Like, I'm not gonna fall into the whole, like, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for all of this shit that's happened to me. I can't be anything but grateful. But
yeah.
And yeah, I don't like all of these type of topics, like this Andrew Tate type of stuff. Like, at the end of the day, again, I'm not here to call, like, Freemasonry evil or the Illuminati evil. I'm not really part of that whole crowd of, like, fear porn, the whole world is completely fucked. I'm here like, yeah, like, they've lied to us about everything, but let's start learning the truth. I'm more on that type of fact. But like, it's so obvious that, for example, Andrew Tate is controlled opposition, and he's owned by the Masons, owned by the Illuminati, whatever you want to say. So like, these whole agendas, these whole things that reach the mainstream, as soon as it reaches the mainstream, it's serving its purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Who was it? Was it potentially you? I don't think it was you. It's the kind of the idea, because, like, say Russell Brand, for example. I'm sure you're familiar.
Yeah.
He obviously tries to push a kind of truth-seeking narrative, but however, he is somewhat mainstream. Would you say he's in the same boat as Andrew, or?
I'd say, yeah, that's most definitely, bro. Like, it's once you recognize the art of symbolism, like there's a like, I don't just call Andrew Tate owned by the Freemasons or maybe even a Freemason himself or Illuminati. I don't just say that for the sake of it. I say that because of recurring symbols and patterns that the same people who, for example, are in Hollywood, like Russell Brand, use. Like, you can, once you know what you're looking for, you know what to recognize, you know how they communicate with each other, so they can all instantly recognize each other. Is you can't really unsee that. So it's always in your face. You can always see who's part of it and who's not part of it. So like, for example, I said about Spiritual Soul. I'm not sure if you've heard of Spiritual Soul.
I do know him, yeah.
Yeah, Spiritual Soul's part of it. His name before, he blew up off of a YouTube channel called Soul Illuminati. And if you go to his spiritual YouTube channel, every single video has got the one eye emoji on it, and his profile picture is him meditating with one eye open. Straight away, it's telling you he's part of a certain crowd. You know, you get me? I'm not gonna say too much, but like, his girlfriend, for example, is or his ex-girlfriend is very involved with like American rappers and stuff. And so straight away you see like who is part of what. It's very easy to recognize, and so like, I'm sort of just going off on a tangent at this point.
No. I'm interested.
Yeah, like, Russell Brand is more. I'd say Russell Brand is more obvious than Andrew Tate, because I saw one episode. Yeah, Russell Brand had fucking Brian Cox on an interview.
Isn't Brian Cox the fucking like scientist geezer, basically? Like,
yeah, literally telling you about how space is real and all of this type of shit. Like, it's don't get me wrong, like, Earth, who knows? The Earth could be fucking spherical, but space is not real, in my opinion. I genuinely I genuinely believe that there is no such thing as outer space and that the Earth is a confined environment. Like, the universe literally means one story, like uni, one verse story. And that story is right here. This is where the divine forces manifest physically. This is where this is the ground, this is the level that everything takes place. So everything has to happen physically. It has to happen on a physical level, and it has to. You get me? Like, we are a divine manifestation, basically.
Well, I know what you mean. In terms of like space not being, I don't believe in any concept at all. And like I say, I don't believe in believing. So the idea that there's something outside of my experience is a concept. So when you say, right, the Earth could be round, and if we take the same thing, like when you say that Andrew Tate and that are part of Illuminati or Freemason, do you like? What way are you saying that? Is it unconscious, or are they literally part of like a cult that messages each other and shit?
That's a very good question, my bro. Because if this was me about 6 months ago, I would have told you, oh yeah, they're all planning this and that. A lot of Freemasons and a majority of people who are owned by Illuminati or any secret society, yeah, they don't really know what they're actually doing. And so, like Andrew Tate, for example, he's a smart individual, so he probably understands what he's actually doing. But let's take another example of, like, I don't know, Lil Wayne or something, or Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
These people, yes, they're involved in it, but they're just there. Do you know what I mean? Most Freemasons, like, they don't. The more I speak to Freemasons, or should I say the lower ranks of Freemasonry, the more I just realize they don't actually know shit. Like, I know, it might sound a bit ignorant, but I realize I know more than you on your own fucking topic, mate. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, like, I don't want to come across as ignorant when I say that, but like 97% of Freemasons don't make it past the 3rd degree. You know, and there's in I think it's Scottish Rite, there is typically 33 degrees. So they only make it 1/11th of the ladder up, and there's a specific name for the first 3 degrees. It's called Blue Lodge Masonry. So, like, yeah, people can be involved in this, and obviously I don't know these individuals, so I can't say, okay, this person knows, this person doesn't. I can only make an educated assumption. But yeah, it is, like, I would say it's not really good to fall into the trap of, like, oh, everyone's part of this and they're against you. Like, yeah, people can be part of it, but they don't actually know what they're doing.
So, like, this is what I was. So when Andrew Tate first came about, I was listening to, like, a lot of podcasts of his. I wasn't particularly advocating for him, but the fact that he says blatant truths that a lot of people are waiting to hear about re-empowerment and the true nature of COVID and things, I thought I was, for the most part, advocating for him. But it's like, I think, what am I correct in when you say, oh, these people are part of the Illuminati or shit? Is basically, is they're perpetuating a broken, toxic ideology unconsciously because they've been indoctrinated and now they've become a cog in a machine and they need deprogramming through some awakening.
But I'd say Andrew Tate probably isn't the best example of that, but yes, because, like, for example, let's say Nicki Minaj really puts out a very toxic ideology of feminine behavior, or like someone like Digga D or Central C.
Yeah.
Like these, and then they put out the negative masculine. And the way that I see Andrew Tate, and I'm not like, I don't really care about Andrew Tate at all, is I just see Andrew Tate as equilibrium, because like he's sort of like the Donald Trump that people actually want to look up to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't really think. I think when you actually watch Andrew Tate speak, you can tell he's quite a fucking intelligent individual.
Yeah.
So like when he does say these like outlandish claims and stuff, I think you can clearly tell that he's done that for a specific purpose, consciously rather than unconsciously.
I understand. Yeah, it's like, so for example, I put on my like story the other day, like, if you watch KSI, you're a bot. And then loads of bots popped up, and they were like, "What do you mean, bruv? It's just entertainment." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you're perpetuating like a fucking meaningless." And because for the most part, these people, Nicki Minaj, Central C, Diggity, KSI, they're just the same. They're like a brand, a face that has no deeper message. And I believe the perpetuation of a deeper truth and message should be the responsibility of everybody who has a platform, and those who have platforms who don't perpetuate the awakening message, they either don't know that they're a cog in a pain matrix, or they have a agreed intention, like or like KSI is either unaware that what he's preaching is toxic, or he's aware, which I'm sure he isn't, because if he was truly aware, he would be physically sick. And because do you know what I mean?
Bro, I know exactly what you mean, yeah, and this is something that like whether KSI intent is conscious of his actions or not, either way, what he's doing, yeah, is and you used a very, very interesting term, which is pain matrix, which I definitely agree that this is a matrix completely designed to cause you pain. But the thing is, and you have to, like, you have your own personal experiences, and I have my own personal experiences, but we have to look to these incredibly painful experiences that have ultimately led to us seeking truth, and realize that, yeah, these things are bad, but like ultimately they've only led us to the truth.
Yes, I agree.
So like ultimately, like, yeah, they will. Like someone for like KSI is probably not the best example. Andrew Tate's probably a better example. So Andrew Tate sort of knows that, yeah, his message definitely contains some very toxic stuff inside it. But the fact is he knows that ultimately what he's doing is meant to cause people pain, so that they start awakening. Like one thing that ancients used to do was they used to basically self-inflict torture onto themselves whilst simultaneously staring directly into the sun, or sun gazing. Because it's like all magic is, and all ritual is basically a shortcut. It's a shortcut. You're shortcutting the actual longevity of an experience, you know, so you can go through much trauma, or you can enlighten directly by staring into the light and cause yourself trauma. It's the same thing with Masonic rituals, where they act out like basically scriptures of their archetype of a messiah, which is called Hieroglyph. So they act out and basically conduct ritual around, like, in the easiest way to explain it, around like the stories of Jesus. You get me? So there's actually like trying to incorporate you know, Jesus's lifestyle into your life for a Christian, or there's conducting an actual ritual around that, enacting it out, understanding how magic affects the ethereal field, and straight away, boom, shortcutting straight to the desired effect of what a ritual and magic actually brings. And so ultimately, like, these people, they do understand that, and I say these people in a loose sense, because a lot of people don't understand, but a lot of people do understand that what they are doing is ultimately causing people pain so that they awaken.
Yeah, right. So, but do you think there's like a as if it's almost like a plan? Like,
yes, but it's a plan that it's a plan that not everyone knows that they're part of the plan. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so. So I mean, I do understand what you're saying. So basically what you said in a nutshell kind of is just like, these people perpetuate the pain matrix, and by the pain matrix I basically mean Western ideology. Like, so when these people like KSI and that are just talking the general consensus and the status quo, they're unintentionally perpetuating Western ideology, which I would define as the pain matrix, because it's so spiritually incomplete and broken.
Yeah.
But then, so would you say that these people are, like, they're not intentionally causing pain for the perceiver's awakening. They're doing it unconsciously, but then how would they?
They're just acting as a pawn. Majority of them are acting as a pawn.
So where's the idea that they have the intent to cause pain in order for an awakening, or like do they have the conscious intent, or where if they don't have the conscious intent, then who does behind the scenes? Or
sorry, I'm just on the phone. So I'd say that the conscious intent, and when I say like for example the word Illuminati, yeah, straight away like you see in that word be illuminated, and so I'm not gonna sit here and say that every single Freemason knows this, because they don't. It's a small number that actually do, but essentially it's like a filtering process. So there will be a set of small individuals who have enough of an understanding, who see the way that life is basically going, the way that life has to go, that then, for example, they will own, let's say the sidemen are managed, or an artist is managed, and that will essentially, then that management corporation will be owned by the Masons, to which then, they will be told to do X, Y, and Z. And so, the actual people themselves, like I said, majority of them are unconscious, but the conscious intent comes from the puppet master rather than the actual puppet.
Yeah, like that's why everyone hates on everyone who sells their soul, basically, and I can't help but hate the majority of the mainstream, is because it's just this when you actually dig to like the very bottom of most media, it's like it's all owned by the same fucking people.
Yeah, it actually is. Like, people don't understand that statement, and like, they really neglect that. It's like, like everything is like, whether you're watching Sky Sports or CBBS, like it's the same shit. It's owned by the same handful of people, like. And
it actually is, like you say, people gloss over it, but I know, like, I mean, I don't know, obviously, I haven't done, like, the most fucking research and actually dug to the bottom and verified it. Sorry.
No, don't worry, this guy's on his phone.
Alright.
So his mum. Sorry, bro.
Right.
I'm gonna have to end the phone call in literally about like 5 minutes. I'm literally about to get to football now.
Yeah, no worries.
I finish at 9:15, so as soon as I get home, we'll carry this on.
Yeah, alright, well, yeah, potentially I could do. I'll probably be awake, yeah, that should be alright. Are you, do you know if you're fine with me I can publish this anonymously if you're happy with that, or I can put spread, or I can not do it at all.
I'd say, like, if you want to, feel free, but I'd say it's probably better to do like a more organized sort of thing, and like,
yeah, sure.
Because, do you know what I mean? Obviously, I think that this conversation's been great. I think it's good enough to be published. I think it would be better if we like keep some actual topics so that we can orchestrate as much as we can efficiently, because I feel like if, for example, I know that I've just gone off on a few like tangents and stuff, and like I do like going off on tangents, but ultimately, like, if we have lots of points written down, then we can always come back to what is important. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Like, I'm more like what you were saying on my channel overall. I'll let you go, but yeah, it's like a more organised, solid orchestra. Well, do you want it published or not? I won't. I can.
Yeah, bro, I'm fine with my name and all of that shit, and like, I think it would be cool if we could do like a I don't know what like software you have or anything. I think it'd be pretty cool if we do like a what's it called? Like a not like a Skype, but like, you get me?
Yeah,
like
no, I do. Yeah, that would be cool.
Record that from both ends and shit. Like, I think it'll just look a lot better rather than actually just a phone call.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well,
interested longer if they got stuff to look at. And
yeah, you are right. It's like people don't have time to just fucking watch a call and just go, who the fuck's this? But I mean, well, if you're okay with it, or would you rather I don't put it up? but obviously I can put it up and then put like a lot more emphasis on what's to come in the future if you wanted, but it's up to you. If you don't,
you can if you want, bro. Feel free.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm literally uploading like almost all I can. I know it's not the super solidest, bestest content in the history of the world, but I am gaining traction very quickly compared to what I have been. And I think it's been a decent conversation.
I'm starting up my shit again, yeah, and we'll work together and stuff, and actually, let's just try to build something, bro, because I like, making YouTube content as well. Oh shit, my water. And so yeah, bro, literally, I'm gonna have to go now, innit? But we'll chat as soon as I'm finished with football.
Yeah, that sounds fuck, mate. Alright, well, have a good one. And yeah, it's good talking to you, and I'll definitely up for talking to you in the future, and we'll do some more solid work together.
Sweet, bro. I'll literally message you after I'm finished and see what you're saying.
Alright, sound as fuck.
Safe, bro.
Bless. Well, there you go. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. Right. Hopefully YouTube, like, if YouTube censors this video, right, I don't have anything to say. What I've been thinking is I want to make my content, I want to be careful about, like, throwing all these conspiracies into the wind, because YouTube are very on the censorship these days. However, when it comes to it, yeah, if I want to phone call someone and they want to fucking tell me about their ideas and shit, I wasn't agreeing with him necessarily on everything, right? And I wish I could dig deeper, and I am trying to up my game in real time, in terms of what I'm doing here on this channel. I want to make my interview questions a lot better. I need to focus up a lot more. And then the trajectory for my channel in the future is I'm going to be making a lot more solid, better videos as F-Spread proposed. So I'll leave his socials and shit in the description, and chances are we will hop on a more solid call in the future, like he said, Skype or something. I would definitely be on that. So that's all. Thanks for watching. And one day I'll get rid of that fucking vibration. It's so annoying. Shut the fuck up. It's the fans on my computer. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful time.